PGA European Tour is brought to you by Volvo.
Hello, good afternoon, and if it's sport you want, then obviously the Czech Republic is the place to be, because we stay in this part of the world for round 3 of the Chemapol Trophy Czech Open from Mariánský Lázně, one of the richest tournaments on the European Tour, with £750,000 in prize money. Mariánský Lázně lying 80 miles west of the capital Prague and close to the German border. It's a course rich in history, opened at the start of the century by the then King Edward VII of England. Not a long course, obviously being so old, 6,758 yards, par 71, and it's pretty tight at the top. Let's take a look at the top 20, moving up towards the start of the leaderboard when the end came yesterday. The cut coming at +1, and our leaders at -7. 70 players going through, separated by just 8 shots, and I bet at the start of the day not one of those players didn't feel that they had a chance of a big check, maybe even of winning this tournament. The lead shared by Peter Mitchell and Dean Robinson. Mitchell at 7 under, and Robinson also 7 under after rounds of 67 and 68, so the Englishman and the Scot. Now, conditions today just about the best we've had all week. Torrential rain at the start of the week, and there was fears for the future of this tournament, but gradually over the week it's dried out, and the course in perfect condition at the moment. And you can see quite a bit has been happening. Daniel Chopra, the 22-year-old Swede, with 1 hole to play, is 6 under for his round, going through to the top of the leaderboard. And it's still very, very tight, and we've got a terrific weekend coming, so sit back for the next 2 hours and just enjoy the very best of the European Tour on Eurosport. Well, there's the situation. We'll take a rather more leisurely look through the leaderboard in a moment or two. But as I say, the sun is out. The course absolutely soaked at the start of play. You can see Daniel Chopra on 18. He's 6 under, began at 3 under. Jonathan Lomas also coming through. Martin Gates, the leader in the clubhouse at the moment, with Miles Tunnicliffe. Gates with a round of 66. And there he is, the 22-year-old Daniel Chopra, from mixed parentage. I think his father was Indian, mother Swedish. Played a lot of golf in Asia, 3 times the All-India Junior Champion. What a round he's having today. Just the 1 bogey. I wonder if he can finish with 4 birdies in a row. That really would be something rather special. And Chopra, who's having a good season, looking for his 4th top 10 finish. Now, Peter Mitchell, it was all going so well for Peter through 6 holes. He was 3 under for the day, 10 under. But then disaster at 7, into the trees, double bogey. Fiddled about at 8 and 9, the 2 par 3s, dropped shots at both. And he really is having to put the wheels back on his wagon at the moment. It was for birdie at the 10th, where we've had 2 eagles so far. 299 for the long and the brave. A green that is drivable if you take on those 2 bunkers either side of the fairway, and the green side bunker as well. Mitchell then for his par 4. He too's had a great season, but the last few holes have been worrying, to put it mildly, and at least he's stopped the rot and 1 over for the day. Now at the, you can see that the greens the first 2 days were pretty spongy. No reflection on the course, it was just the sheer volume of rain, and that's why the scoring was good and fairly closely bunched. No one was really putting the lights out and getting away, but they're much improved today as they dry out. They're getting a little bit flatter. There's Gary Orr of Scotland also going well. So at the moment it certainly is wide open now. Chopra, if he's to finish with 4 birdies in a row, will have to hold this chip. Finished with a share of 9th in the Hallbrücke in Austria last week, and before that share of 8th in the Dutch Open, so his form is solid. Former winner of the Doug Sanders World Junior Championship up there in Aberdeen each year. Back in '91 he won. No, that's going to finish short. Could have done with pitching that on the putting surface, so leaving himself about a 12-footer. Would be for a round of 65. Had a chance, had he made a 3, would have equalled Mark Litton's course record set last year. But a fine performance, and no surprise that 1 or 2 are coming through the pack. The next 2 hours are going to be very interesting, and then of course tomorrow the climax with the first prize of £125,000 and the 2-year exemption. Going to be a lot of pressure on the likes of Chopra. Won't have been in that situation before. And here's a look at 14, the par 4 dogleg. There's a Richard Boxall who's slipped back 1 under, having started the day at 4 under, so he's 3 over today. Just running through the elbow of the dog leg, and a little bit of doubt in the mind coming out of the semi-rough. Martin Gates with that 66 also for Paul Lawrie and for Lee Westwood, and 67 for Alexander Chaker. He's 5 under and far from out of it. That was quite a nice hard kick forward. Might have expected that to sit down. If he knew what he was doing, I suspect he did. He's judged that to perfection. Peter Teravainen is the defending champion at 69 for the 2nd day running, and he's at 2 under. You can see a breeze which has helped with the drying process as well. And the course green and lush after all the rain. The situation, you see Chopra leading by 1 from Jonathan Lomas, and Lomas 3 under through the 12th. The 12th potentially a difficult hole as well. He's got through that, just 1 behind, and his second shot at 13 after the longest par 4 on the course, the longest par 3, 235 yards. And Lomas emerging from a wretched run. Share a 3rd place in the Italian, a tournament which he quite honestly could have won, and then 10 missed cuts in a row. He didn't qualify for the Open in the middle of it, but the last 2 weeks it's been a little better. Medium finishes, but a little bit of confidence coming back. Now, a par for Chopra at 18, and this for a 65. 83rd on the Volvo rankings at the moment, so he's done enough to retain his card for next year. That's always the first priority. No worries in that direction. So over the last 2 or 3 weeks in Holland and Austria, that worry has been relieved, and now he can set himself new goals for the rest of the season. Oh, what a round, and that, I would say, without actually checking, probably the best round of his life, certainly as a professional. And we haven't seen too much of Daniel today, obviously, but we're going to see an awful lot of him tomorrow. He leads at 9 under after that round of 65, just the 1 bogey. Splendid effort. That sets the target for the likes of Lomas and Domingo Hopitao out on the course. Only 22, but he gained a lot of experience in Asia. Now Bob May at 17, 1 over. The American 4 over for the day, and the Americans call this moving day, and sadly Bob is moving backwards, though this might help. Come on, come on, come on, Albatross. Well, he could have turned his round around in 1 stroke. And on tape in a moment we'll see the putt for eagle. And for a lot of these players, big money at stake and a chance to secure that card for next year. There's quite a few up on the leaderboard on the fringes. Lomas is okay, 91st and almost 50,000 in from 23 tournaments, so he's played an awful lot. Slips back 7 under, 2 behind. Of course, was Rookie of the Year in 94. Last year was a learning experience out of the top 100. Domingo Hopitao having his best ever year so far.
Yes.
And into a share of 2nd place. That was for par, so in fact 6 under behind Lomas and 3 behind Our leader in the clubhouse now, Daniel Chopra. Quite good crowds here today. Have gone out that many large centres of population around, but worth the effort. Lovely part of the world. Now Richard Boxall for his birdie at 14. Has he got the legs? Not quite. A couple more rolls. It might have held the line. Boxall, 1 under, slipping back. Unlucky for May. Might have had a 2, and Albatross has to settle for a birdie 4. And again, it's being one of them. Having made the cut, that's okay. But now you've got to really get up amongst the big money, and Bob May needs to do exactly that. You've got to take the chances when they come. Let's go and have a look at Gary Evans at 15 for a birdie 3. 27-year-old from Worthing in England, who is fighting his way back up the rankings after surgery on his left wrist, a long-standing problem, and he's not far away. He was one of our brightest prospects when he started to get those wrist problems. So far away from re-establishing himself. And just a little slow. A couple of top 10 finishes this year. Start of the day at 4 under, level par today. But it's Daniel Chopra with that 65 who's set the pace. He leads by 2 now from Jonathan Lomas, and the pack have to chase. We'll be back with more live action from Marianski Lasny with me, Steve Beddoe, after the break. 3 of the Chemapol Trophy Czech Open live from Marianski Lasny. Pleased to report, as you can see, blue skies up above this lovely golf course. And the action pretty hot down below as well. Daniel Chopra with that round of 65, leading at 9 under. And he's 3 ahead of this man, Gary Orr, former Rookie of the Year, with a chance to close the gap to 2. This for birdie at 13, at 15, beg your pardon. He won't mind. In it goes. So Gary Orr, who's had some frustrating times since clinching that Rookie Award. His next goal would have been to win a tournament. He's still waiting. Likewise, Jonathan Lomas, who now shares second place with Gary Orr. Lomas on 14 at the moment. And coming out of a mini slump, had finishes the last 2 weeks in the mid-20s. Just to repeat that, after 10 missed cuts in a row. Must have wondered when the next paycheck was coming from. 28-year-old doesn't lack confidence. Back at the 13th. And body language suggests that Peter Baker is not having that good a day. Baker, hard to forget that he's still only 28. The Midlander seems to have been around forever. Plays out of the Warwickshire club now. Now Lomas from Hill Valley. 4 cracks at the qualifying school, and then got onto the tour via the Challenge Tour Order of Merit, and came on with his bags packed, prepared for 4-round tournament golf. Right over the pin, but through the back, and an awkward little chip across that swale left back. Just downwind, may have got a little bit of a flyer. Up to 13, and Peter Baker. So also a Rookie of the Year in 1987, and then won the Beds and Hedges at Forford, beat Nick Faldo of all people in the playoff in 88. And he got at 18 to catch him, and he got to 18 second time round to beat him. And looked set for a glittering career, slipped back but came back in 23 with a couple of wins, and was the star of the Ryder Cup at the Belfry. But 2 under, he's 4 over today. He's having one of those days, I'm afraid. So there's the situation at the top of the leaderboard. Chopra leading by 2 from Gary Orr and Jonathan Lomas, and Peter Mitchell's just made a birdie 11. Mitchell on the way back. Gates, Tunnicliffe, both in the clubhouse. See plenty of them tomorrow. Jamie Spence also in with a chance. You can see a good round from Paul Lawrie and from Lee Westwood and from Alexander Jacobs. I say, don't rule him out. John Hawksworth's having a good week as well. Doesn't get that many opportunities on the tour. Latif Goosen 4 under. A level par today. A South African who in recent weeks has been an absolute model of consistency from his last 12 starts, including this one. He's only missed 1 cut, but he's had 3 top 10 finishes, top 5 finishes, including his first win at Slaley Hall and 5 other top 20. So this is a man at the top of his form. Wanders down, and they're never quite sure from that range. When greens do get saturated, we saw it earlier this year in Portugal at Aroeira. There's not much that the green staff can do, just hope that they dry out, and that's what they're doing. Nobody to blame. And it could have been worse. The forecast at the start of the week was horrendous. So Hooson, 27-year-old from Johannesburg, came onto the tour in '93, having won the qualifying school in the winter of '92. See still 1 or 2 wet spots. There's Emmanuel Canonica, and he, like 1 or 2 others, faces an important weekend. He was one of our 4 first round leaders after an opening 67, but he's way down 145th in the global rankings, and he's got to get up into the top 115 come the end of the season if he's to avoid a trip to the qualifying school. 25-year-old from Chirim, big hitter. They say he hits it as far as John Daly. See, casual water, he's decided taking a drop. And Canonica playing with Jonathan Lomas, both players through the green, chipping back. See, he's just got that little ridge at the start of the putting green, which makes the shot a bit harder. If he can carry that, so much the better. And look, he's just into the bank, takes the pace off it. And that's beautifully judged. Great imagination. Saw the shot he wanted to play, and then had the ability to execute it. And Lomas, a recent convert to the long handle putter. Here's Jamie Spence, 3rd shot at the par 5 17th. 2 under today, and every chance of going to 3 under. But par is 71, 34 out, 37 back. Order on the right of 16. Gary Orr flirted with the pond, coming out of the semi-rough. It's not a long hole again. 385 yards, and he's got a chance for a birdie 3. Taken the last 4 weeks off, Gary Orr. Hobbit out in birdie mode, but having to settle for a par now. And with Jamie Spence, this is Bob May at 18. Sits down while his playing partner Matthias Gromberg having an absolute nightmare, was 10 over with a couple of holes to go for the day. There's May, who in '91 was runner-up in the British Amateur Championship. Came out of our qualifying school last winter. And he too needs a good week this week. Rich pickings at 15,000 just for 10th, so it's worth your while trying on every shot. been a winner. Gary Evans was second in '92 in the Tour España Masters. He was just pipped by Jim Payne for Rookie of the Year. That's when the injury problems began to materialise, and for the second whole running he's tentative and short. Well, Jamie Spence has knocked his birdie attempt past, and that's almost as far as he was when he was putting for a 4. So this to save his 5 at 17. Well, shades of Paul Broadhurst and Carnoustie. Now he has to walk away because he really isn't any closer. Working hard with a sports psychologist. Last year it was a hypnotherapist. He's moved on to a psychologist, and it seemed to have been working. Maybe a phone call a little bit later. Gary Orr then for birdie at 16. You would have seen Gary Evans pull up short, and he's got the pace of that one perfectly. Well played, Gary Orr. Plays out of the Burhill Club on the southern outskirts of London. On the London-Surrey borders, 8 under, just 1 shot behind now. 29-year-old. And a par for Evans. So there's a real chance for Gary Orr if he can birdie 17, and he's no slouch. He's got the power in the bag to get on in 2. There'll be a real chance for Orr to join the league. Gary Evans will need a birdie of his own and hope for better fortune tomorrow. Not playing badly, but if you're not shooting below 70, this end of the field you're going back. Now here's a chance to look at Emmanuel Canonica at 15, 313 yards out with a big stick, and he's having a crack at this. This could be interesting. With a burner bubble, and he's really smoked that one, and he hasn't smoked it straight. There he goes, away to the left now. Aren't too many trees over there. Missed the car, past the cafe, through the toilets, and an awkward second. We see the he was long enough, wasn't he? We got about an 8 iron back. He was that wide, but may have to learn to harness the power. And Lomas out with the iron. Usually a driver that's a little longer than standard. It's a short par 4, unless you're confident you can fly all of those bunkers from about 50 yards in. And I think he's okay. Just looks as if he might have been running into the first of the bunker, but I think that is the camera deceiving us. Slightly into wind. See 1 or 2 of the puddles and the mud still on the ground, and a tight tree line course. It's not long, but you have to be accurate. Bob May then to finish at 213 level par. This is for a 74. Well, he's finished reasonably well, and Matthias Gromberg, who's had an even worse day, sympathising. It's well, he's got the chance tomorrow too. Increase the size of his check, but it's not the Saturday he'd hoped for. Peter Baker at 14, quite a way wide, putting from the fringe. Pace isn't bad, and you see how that wanders off at the end? That's about as good as he could expect. A couple of years haven't been easy for Peter Baker, but he's not shy of hard work, and maybe you saw we didn't see his second shot in, but it's really from about 100 yards in. He's not getting down in 2 enough. That's the area where he knows he can still improve. 33rd in the current rankings, couple of top 10 finishes, played really well in Dubai, share of 5th. Just that breeze, when you get any sort of wind this high up, and we're above 2,000 feet in amongst the trees, just makes it a little harder for the players. And here's Peter Mitchell at the 12th longest par 4 on the course, 470 yards, and Mitchell with his third across the sand. If anything into the wind, that will help. So I need to stop this one pretty quickly. Lob wedge. And it has to kick past a little bit, and well, that's not bad. A lot of players dropping shots here at 12. He's just getting a little bit agitated now. That run just before the turn that was so destructive. Mitchell, who's looking for a place in the English Alfred Dunhill Cup side. Lee Westwood, certainly with that round today, no problems, he should make the side. And really it's two from Broadhurst, Claydon and Mitchell, with Ross McFarlane missing the cut. He had an outside chance, but he was one of the players that missed the cut. And just Darren Clark also missed with a 76. We saw him yesterday. Roger Davis didn't make it, neither did Wayne Raleigh. 68 and then a 77. McFarlane finishing on 146. Brown Jr. also with the weekend off. Likewise Gabriel Hutstedt, 79 after an opening 69. And Mark Farry, 73, 77. And Ivan Lendl, the 76, which was respectable, but the first round 82 with a 76. Missing the cut, but hugely enjoying the experience, and says he'll be back next year. He's already been invited. Goosen missing. Now Lomas, in fact, was in the bunker. It's just one of those tricky shots, a 70, 80 yard out of sand. You have to take the ball clean. Hit behind the ball at all, and could go from one bunker to t'other, but really, as he takes his stance and gets a good solid foundation, shouldn't present too many problems. He'll fly at the pin. He knows that the ball will sit down very quickly. We see even pitching it on the fairway, it's still pulled up very quickly, and that's not so good. It'll be disappointing. This is for birdie from Richard Boxall. Don't hear it drop, don't see it drop, and it didn't. So Boxall stays at 1 under, and with Retief Goosen, neither player enjoying that hole. Now Spence at 18. Second shot at this 431 yard par 4. Right over the pin, and there's a chance to amend for the lapse with the putter at 17. Russell Claydon, we saw him yesterday with a chance maybe to share the lead. Must have finished with a bogey because he started today at 6 under, a couple of 68s. When he finds his touch with the putter, he can be unbeatable. Remember last year, that's 61 at what's NSA in the Mercedes German Masters. But level par today. Having a fabulous run at the moment, and a win, a first win really would be the icing on the cake. And there's Peter Mitchell to save his par at 12. Well done. Pulled out of the Scandinavian Masters a couple of weeks ago with flu. And took last week off, and generally looks to have benefited from the rest now. Here's Emmanuel Canonica, who's we think had a drop. The line doesn't look too bad, may have been away from our television cables.
Standing in animal stuff now.
Now he's standing in animal scrape, and having already had one drop, if he plays his card right, he's working closer to the fairway each time. And first drop, I think, was for line of sight over the car, the Volvo that you saw. One eagle so far. Again, it's one of those greens that you can see is drivable, although you really have to fly it all the way or get lucky. There's so many bunkers guarding the green and the approaches. Well, there's Miguel, our referee, gives the ruling. The first drop, you can see the car there. That's it. Probably line of sight is the first drop. Now Hospital with his second to 18. on the left side of the fairway, and that's the ideal place to come in from. Right over the pin. That was on tape. And with Jamie Spence and both players with a chance to finish with the 3. Now live, and let's see if they can. Couple of top 10 finishes earlier this year, became a tour millionaire. Just the one win, that was at Cron Montana, Canon European Masters back in '92. It's 33. Well, that makes up for the 3-putt, perhaps at the last. It was nicer to finish that way. And Spence with a 69. And the first birdie, as you can see, on the homeward half. Now Mitchell at 13. That was a 3-iron. Well, it's straight now. Come on. Just for a moment. And the smile's never far away. It was a struggle when he was dropping shots around the turn. And Gary Orr not able to get up into. That's 17, but close enough to have a real chance of a birdie 4. Probably deciding he couldn't make the carry, so laying back far enough to give himself a full wedge in, and that's a slight miscalculation. Needed to throw that in at the pin. Now Dean Robertson. 67, 68. Oh, when he got lucky there. Out of the trees and went the right way. Gone the other way, could have been running up a cricket score. Well, the same stable as a snooker player Stephen Hendry, and got a bit of a lucky break there. But still in danger of dropping a shot. Here's Kanonaka with his second eventually. Applause, and he's got a chance of getting away with a 3. And of course, if he can string a few results to go, spectators love to see the big hitters. And could make quite a reputation for himself if he can establish himself. Hobbitail then at 18. Can he follow Jamie Spence in? He can't. Oh. 38-year-old from Barcelona, who was very proud when he came on the tour in '92 to be Europe's oldest rookie. This is his best year so far. A 69 or so, and a steady round. Done him no harm. We'll still have a chance tomorrow. 3 off the lead. And there are our leaders. Daniel Chopra on the right, in with a 65 and 9 under. Gary Orr 1 shot behind with a birdie putt at 17. It's a little bit longer than he would have wished. If he makes it, got a share of the lead. Jonathan Lomas still with a chance to come through, and likewise Peter Mitchell. Great shot from Mitchell at 13. Real opportunity for a 2. Jamie Spence joining that pack in the clubhouse at 6 under. So Clayton also 6 under. You see some pretty good scoring today. Paul Broadhurst and Roger Vessels. Vessels with a 69, the South African. Dean Robinson sadly slipping back. He's 4 over for the day and in trouble at 13. And Emmanuel Kanonaka, not the Saturday that he would have hoped for. Peter Teravainen, defending champion, the 2nd successive round of 69. Howard Clark, 2nd last year, but struggling this year. And Bob May, you can see how far he slipped back from the upper echelons of the leaderboard. Jim Payne had a 66 yesterday. He's under threat, his place in the Dunhill Cup side from Clayton and from Mitchell. And Paul Affleck's chance of representing Wales looks to have gone. There's still plenty of exciting golf to come here at Marianski Lansty, and we'll be back after these. Welcome back to Mariansky Lasny, and a look at Philip Price. His second shot into 18. And the Welshman playing with Gary Emerson, looking for a place in that Dunhill Cup side. Start of the day at 4 under. Reminder, Daniel Chopra is the leader after a 65. He's in the clubhouse at 9 under. Gary Orr needs a birdie at 17 or 18 to tie. At the moment, Jonathan Lomas, Peter Mitchell out on the course. They've got opportunities to catch the leader as well. So no one really getting away. And still all to play for, with one more round to come. We've got about an hour or so still to run. Live action from round 3. A little bit of breeze in amongst the trees that now and again is deceiving the players. And here's Jonathan Lomas at 15. Remember, he was in the bunker with his tee shot just on the front of the green. Raced his putt past, gave it a chance of a birdie, and that was one back to save par. So Lomas just 2 off the pace and still 2 under for the day. Peter Mitchell has a putt to get within 1 of the lead, and it was a splendid tee shot right over the pin. Might have gone in. It's a turtle putter. I've seen him use that before. Maybe a recent addition to the armoury. Exciting player, made more eagles than anybody else last year. Come on, turn. Oh, he gave it a chance. He gave it every chance. Of course, if you're back of the field, the greens, if they are a little bumpy, still a little spongy, you are going to get the worst of them, but deserved a 2 there, really. That's all you can say.
Perfect from where I was.
38 now. Peter plays out of the London club, Jack Nicklaus's design, just down there off the M25. Now Gary Orr then for a show lead. It's a lot further than Peter Mitchell's, but that doesn't mean it won't go in. He's held a couple of tramliners already. And this has got a chance. This has got every chance. Oh, goodness. Oh. It's a little hard to take. 3 times he's been third. Been working with David Ledbetter. They worked on his putting at Wentworth and resulted in a top 10 finish in the Volvo PGA. And Gary Emerson. Me too, looking for a good week. Second year on tour after coming out of the qualifying school via top of the Western region, the PGA Order of Merit. And again a 74, but there is more pressure on these players that have to worry about making their cards than those that don't have to, and quite often reflected in the scoring. No such worries for Philip Price, 1 under, and winner a couple of years ago at the Portuguese Open from Pontypridd. And Price at 1 under, also 3 over for the day. So quite often you see that in a 2-ball. If one plays well, the other does, and vice versa. And nothing's happened for these two. No spark. So a handshake, a pair of 74s, and hope for better tomorrow. Not the best of starts as well. 6-5 at 2 and 3, 3 shots gone after 3 holes. Russell Claydon back, and it's bad news for Big Russ. He's playing 3 off the tee, smashed it into the woods, and either lost or unplayable, but he's opting to go back to the tee, play a second ball. And that looks to be heading a little bit towards the water if he's not careful. Way to the right now. He's carried the water, which is something. Under that tree, he's got himself an awkward one left now. Got to punch it under the branches, and such a good strike of the ball. That was a little careless on both occasions. Chance for Johnny Lomas. Now Joachim Hegman for birdie, playing with Andrew Coulthard. Miss at 14. Couple of 68s to open for Joachim. Be 27 at the end of this month. And Gary Evans, I'm told, in the left-hand bunker just off the fairway at 18, playing with Gary Orr. Depends how far back he is. A full swing, so he believes he can get on to the putting surface, and he can. We enjoyed Ivan Lendl's efforts of the first 2 days, and we watched Gary Evans swing again. A little bit of news about Nigel Mansell, who enjoys his golf, plays off a 2 handicap down at Woodbury Park as Jonathan Lomas prepares to birdie 16, and he and his partner making good progress in the Honda Club Championship, 1,300 clubs in that, and they're within 2 rounds of the finals at Penina. Oh, we gave that a chance as well. So Mansell's still competitive. Once played in the Australian Masters, didn't he? At the invitation of Greg Norman. Keep a lookout for that. And the reason I know is that your friend Jim Blanche from Ted Dexter Associates let me know, and also let me know, and he said it was a secret, that next Thursday he and Lizzie become mixed foursomes partners for life. And Jim, you didn't think I could keep it a secret, did you? Good luck to both of you. Lomas still 2 behind. Now Gary Orr, middle of the fairway, second to 18. Beauty, good aid, this is for the lead. Oh. Well, that was almost for well, it would have been an eagle too, and he'd have gone into the lead at 10 under. I tell you, certain now to share the lead at 9 under, licking his lips. What a shot. Say he's taken the last 4 weeks off after 4 missed cuts out of 5, and the rest seems to have done the trick, and he, no doubt he's been working at his game, and that really checks and screws back almost into the pocket. Oh, so close. And you don't see that too often. Smile on the face of Gary Orr, but why not? So Peter Mitchell at 14, just waiting for Coulthard and Hagman to tee off at 15 before playing. Team Robinson already played and close. Just getting back to Nigel Mansell when they played in the first round of the Honda against Honiton. The match went to the 7th extra hole, can you believe? There's been a couple of pit stops. Gary Evans for a 3 at 18. Best finish this year was a share of 4th place at Slady Hall. He had a wife Samantha and a young baby with him. Enjoyed the week. It was all fairly easy early on for, looked like to be a golden boy, and then saw the other side of life with those wrist problems and lost his father as well. And I think that's mature Gary, and he's going to emerge as a much stronger character and probably a better golfer because of it. Just bobbled about 6-7 feet short. Rock solid 4 though. That's not bad coming out of the bunker. Evans duly tapped in for his par 4 as we take a look at. Well, no, we're safe on this course, and he's got lucky again, Lomas. Out with that overlong driver. Away to the right, and members bounce, Bickle bounce back onto the fairway. Maybe 2 feet. Formality for Gary Orr, a round of 66, and he joins Daniel Chopra at the top of the leaderboard on 9 under. Terrific back 9, 4 birdies, not a single bogey. Mixed fortunes going out, but in all 7 birdies. But Gary Orr be within 1 day of his first win on the European Tour. Well, that's the target. Chopra and all at 9 under. And Lomas and Mitchell out on the course with a chance to perhaps challenge. And Gates and Tunnicliffe and Co not out of it yet. Take a look at Andrew Coulthard, who you would have expected to get moving, but in fact he's 2 over for the day. That may change. And into 15. He's still got a chance to finish strongly and salvage the day. 7th in the Volvo rankings. 6 top 10 this year, including twice second to Ian Woosnam in Singapore and at Carnoustie. Just looking for that first win on tour. He's no stranger to winning, and 94 won both the Scottish and the Australian PGA titles. Now Robertson. Managed by Ian Doyle, same stable with Stephen Hendry, Ken Dougherty, Dennis Taylor, and racing drivers Ruben Barrichello and Martin Brundle. Oh, now put all of those together, you could have some company day, couldn't you? The whole stable just signed with a company G to Z Capital, and a lucrative deal apparently it was as well. I know they'll be watching at Simon's Golf Club in Denmark, and just quickly say thank you for making our vacation recently so pleasant. And the good news at Simon's Club just north of Copenhagen, where they play the Danish Open on the Challenge Tour. Big plans and every chance on 98 of the Danish Open being part of the regular European Tour. This was Coulthard's shot, worth a look again. Scott's getting close. First it was Gary Orr at 18, and now it's Andrew Coulthard at 15. And Peter Mitchell coming up short at 14. He bruised the hole a time or two. 17, and second shot of Lomas. He may be going with the driver trying to get on in 2. rounding it off onto the left-hand side, and it stays just a tad left, and if that's lying okay, not too bad, although the pin cut over that side. Might not be so easy to get close. Back on the 15th. I wonder what the tactics will be for Peter Mitchell. 313 yards. He looks like he's out with the driver. He's going to take it on. So if he is, we'll have to wait for Coulthard and Hageman to clear, and Yucky not the fastest of players, so it may take a little while. But he too 4 over, so big changes on the leaderboard on this third day. That will help. 3 under. Needs a top 3 finish this week to become the 52nd Tour millionaire. And Mitchell got the green light now. Out of the blocks and don't spare the rod. We're into the sand. Don't think there's ahead of too happy Andrew Coulthard, just having a look back. Well, I think, well, there's the birdie. He's not phased by it at all, but 5 under. But had he been about to putt when Peter Mitchell hit his shot? No hurry, boys. I think we've got another hour to run yet. Beat out the Spanish gentleman, waiting a little bit longer. You see 6 over today. This is Robertson, beg your pardon, of course. Dean Robertson 6 over today. His recent form's been a little bit iffy. This has a chance of getting pretty close over that fairway bunker. Dean's missed 5 cuts out of the last 7, so this is a better week. This is off tape for Russell Clayton. Remember, he had all sorts of problems. This was for a double bogey 6. Man who came so close in Sweden. Richard Boxall finishing on 18. That's for a par 4. But it is a 4, but it is a 74, and he's slipping back too, so it's a much changed leaderboard. I said at the start of the program that all of the 70 players making it through to this weekend, just 8 shots separating them, would all have believed that they had a chance of winning still at the halfway stage, and well, there's 1 or 2 have given themselves the opportunity tomorrow, the likes of Miles Tunnicliffe and Martin Gates. Now to 16, 385 yards. Water on the right, and at least Russell would float. He's flirted with the water. He's got a problem with it. I think he'll be on the phone to Eddie Birchenough, his coach this evening. That's 2-3 drives we've seen away to the right, and all he could do really was hack that out. Lomas third at 17. You might reasonably have expected that to run on a little more. Despite his disasters, Russell Clayton not out of it yet. If he can get up and down here, pick up a birdie at the next, you know, 4 shots off the pace, it's not impossible. It's okay, but it's a tricky little 6-footer left to save his par. Good form at the moment, share 3rd place in the BMW, which was Rain Cataldi. Might have gone on to win that, who will know, and top 10 at Carnoustie, which At times looked as if it was going to be better. He was in the last match after 3 rounds, I think. Kanonaka, he's used all his power, switched on the accelerator, and an eagle putt at 17. Got on in 2. It's 521 yards, and pretty well in these damp conditions, all carry. This has got a little chance. Good pace. Beautiful weight. And Robertson. Well, the Scots are playing well at the moment. 25-year-old from Paisley. Slip of a lad, only 10.5 stone of him. Just the one top 10 finish and 99th in the rankings at the moment, but he doesn't lack confidence or self-belief. It has to be said as Jonathan Lomas. Although that self-confidence must have been shaken over the last couple of months or so. Russell Clayton doesn't give the appearance of worrying about anything, but I think that can be a little bit deceptive. Like quite a few of our contenders this week, a former Rookie of the Year back in 1990. Now come on, get in. No, another shot goes. So Russell Clayton in 3-4 down the leaderboard. Over today. And Peter Baker, 1987, he was the Rookie of the Year. And he too slipping back, so 4 over, and there they get on well, and they'd probably normally be chatting a little bit of football. Well, the golf needs some attention at the moment. And Peter Baker, of course, the Mad Keen Wolves fan, and Steve Ball, his favourite centre forward. During the build-up for Euro 96, he joined the England squad and played with Alan Shearer, and they got on very well. Now the joke is they ask him who's the #1 centre forward in England, and he has to say, well, there's 2 of them now, Steve Ball and Alan Shearer. And Shearer, no mean golfer, won a set of golf gloves for his efforts in the build-up to Euro 96. Anyway, we just need William Tell now, really, don't we? Take care of the apple or peach, whatever it is. Lomas and 17 for birdie and to go to 8 under. Good pace, great pace. Oh. And that's the problem, to get them to hold the line, it appears you have to hit them firmly, and then if they don't, or they just lip out, you've got an awkward one left. The markings on the ball show that it has to be Peter Mitchell's. And this is third shot for Peter Mitchell at 16. I could tell you that was off tape, and he would make that putt to save his par, to keep in contention. A 5 for Lomas and 17. Now the 18th hole, 431 yards, and we saw the power of Emmanuel Kanonaka getting on for 2 in 17. Let's take a look at this swing. Just checking that he's not in front of the markers. See, he's not a big man, but it's a strong grip. Good grip as well. And everything drives through the ball. My Italian's not that good, but I think I got the gist of that. Away to the right, having seen one before a couple of holes ago at going left. Oh, no. There is it. Unleash the power, and he can't really control it, just coming in a little bit open. And when you've got that much power on it, doesn't have to be much out of kilter to be a long way offline. Jonathan Joachim Hegman at 16. This is going to be his third shot. Awkward spot. He may get a drop from there, perhaps, because there seems all sorts of activity around. We shall see. So, Andrew Coulthard, birdie at the last hole. Back to 1 over today. Third shot. Plenty of green to work with. Well, this has got a chance. Again, good effort. And that awkward little 3-4 foot, but settle for that. Just know he has to keep patient, and the win will come. Start him young out on the practice putting green. Looks like the players are getting younger. Looks like the coaches are getting younger. No, you just haven't got it. Let me have a go, Dad. I'll show you an idiot. There, no problem. You put your foot in the way for that was going in the hole. Star of the future. I'm playing off the back foot. Left hand below right. They don't normally go to that till they're at least 10. Just a little lag, and again. Well, he's not going to lose many balls, is he? Easy. Too many balls on this putting green. Let's make it look a little tidier. That's a good one. Yeah, you see that, Dad? Jonathan Lomas, 18. The right hand side, finding a good firm spot to bounce on. That's long. Mitchell having saved his par at the previous hole. So here the white flag, that's not surrendered. That means the ball's okay, no problems at all. Water on the right, remember. There's a second shot of Russell Clayton at 17. With the Buckingham stop, well, he had plenty long enough. And pin high. Needs that chip to go in, really to change the momentum and the mood. Hegman in the end has to play a shot at 16. Third shot, it wasn't a particularly good spot. He missed the last 3 cuts, so still get the impression that he's not at one with his game. Peter Baker's third shot at 17 drove into the trees, so having to lay up with his second. Quite a long third left. That's it. Awkward little spot now with the fringe cut behind, but could have sat down, could have been quite a bit short. Just the breeze off the left hand side now. Still Joachim Hegman at 16. He's not the quickest player, we know that, and it may be a cause of frustration for Peter Mitchell and Dean Robertson behind. Tie at the top, and Mitchell just has to keep calm because he won't make Joachim go any quicker. He's got a chance of sharing the lead or maybe getting it back over these closing holes. See Paul Lawrie with his 66. Paul Broadhurst not out of this either. Nor Alexander Chaker with the 67 today, the honorary member of Mariansky Lasny. better day for Howard Clark, finishing with a 68 today. Man, he was second last year. And so at 3 under, the likes of Howard Clark not out of it yet. I don't think you can probably win from there. Too many players to go past, and someone's going to shoot a 66, 65 tomorrow. This is Jonathan Lomas. Kanonika's already played, and we understand coming up just short of the green. Wasn't a bad shot from Kanonika, because he was away on the first fairway over the trees, and he's actually come out of it rather better than Jonathan Lomas, who was in the perfect spot on the middle of the 18th fairway. So as we said yesterday, it only takes 1 or 2 bad swings, bad shots in a round, and that's the difference. There's Kanonika, who came back over those trees, and he's got an easier shot, better lie than Lomas, and more green to work with. So if he can harness that power, and could be an exciting addition to the European Tour. Well, we'll see Andrew Colchart's putt, but here's Dean Robertson live into 16. Whew. It's been a good afternoon from what we've seen for the Scots, and of course Dean needs a birdie or two. I don't know if Andrew Colchart, yeah, we are going to see it, had a chance perhaps for a birdie. This is for the par. Ooh, just pick your ball up and on to the next tee. Don't dwell on that one. Try to wriggle it out. He knows. Who, if memory serves me right, was very close to the top of the leaderboard, if not at the top of the halfway stage of the Deutsche Bank tournament, eventually won by Frank Nobilo, and Peter had a share of 4th place. Both players with excellent chances of birdie threes. His 3rd shot at 18. Not lying too badly. Cut this one up over the bunkers, and quite a bit of green to work with. Best finish was last year's share of 3rd in the Italian Open, and that just about enabled him to keep his card. Basically, I reckon needs a top 6 this week to secure his card for next year. Sit down a little quickly. Not bad, but I'd like to have been closer. Down there, 145th at the moment, just over £20,000, and about 45,000 should be the mark. So he's a way to go. Daniel Chopra, 65. He's been at the top a long time, and Gary Orr with a brilliant birdie at 18 to join him. Peter Mitchell could still top the leaderboard at the end of the day, despite his wobble at holes 7, 8 and 9, where he dropped 4 shots. But you can see at 5 under, 4 shots adrift, all those players still in it. It's very tight, and it wouldn't surprise me if we had a playoff tomorrow. Gary Evans, Retief Goosen, not out of it either. And Canonica 4 under, with about a 15-footer to stay that way. 3 under. In fact, Gary Clark, apologies to Howard Clark, it's Gary Clark, apologies to him really, who's 3 under. So will Orr and Chopra top the leaderboard at the end of the afternoon. We've got about 40 minutes to run, and we'll be back at Marianski-Lesny after the break. See you then. Welcome back to Marianski-Lesny, the closing stages of round 3 of the Chemapol Trophy Czech Open, where it's still all to play for. 9 others setting the pace. Daniel Chopra and Gary Orr, but this is Dean Robinson for a birdie, much needed birdie at 16. He's playing in the final match of the day with Peter Mitchell, and Mitchell also with a birdie chance, but you can see Dean's still 4 over for the day. Not really the sort of Saturday he would have hoped for. Tranquil part of the world these days. Maybe not for Joachim Hegman. At 17, just wondering if he can get onto the green in 2. With a fairway wood. Feels that he can. Hegman, who played in the European Ryder Cup side at 1993 as a wild card, one of Bernard Gallagher's 2 wild cards. That all starts again, the qualification process, in a couple of weeks at Collingtree in the 1-to-1 British Masters. A week earlier this year. The road to Valderrama. Well, it was the right club. Just a question how it lands in the sand. Hopefully we're not plugged. Andy Proger on the back. Former assistant professional himself a year or 2 ago, more than he cares to remember. Well, Lomas, remember, tugged his second shot amongst the molehills. Wasn't a bad lie though, was it? Pretty good contact. So he could escape with a 4. Birdie putt at 16, this on tape from Peter Mitchell. It's for a share of the lead. No, it was away to the left, diving away to the left so quickly, and he hasn't had too much luck over these closing holes. Just keep patient. Repairing a pitch mark, you can do that. Can't touch any spike marks. Maybe the birdie will have to come at 17. Haven't seen too many 3s at 18. Of course, Gary Orr, notable exception. And Lomas would settle for a 4. It's for a 69. That long handle putter seems to work for young and old alike. So a 69 for Lomas. Here's Mitchell. 1 off the pace. Nasty down the middle, so yeah, I would think he could get up in 2. Third shot of Andrew Coulthard on the same hole. Well, one of those loose ones. The divot to replace him, maybe looking at the divot just to tell him what he did wrong. Away to the left, and not the sort of mistake he should make, really, at this level. There's Peter Baker on 18, playing with Russell Clay. They're just looking across either side of the fairway and just, well, who was it first to go on the angle, the dog leg? It will be Peter Baker. Furthest from the pin and first to play. Listen, did he just catch the top of that bunker, I wonder? I think he did. He's some distance short. Just caught the lip, a little bit greedy perhaps with the club, caught it a fraction heavy. Difficult to tell from behind the green. on the first. A bit of a distraction. Now the lie looks good, and it's not a bad way to come in from. The unusual grip, but it's a good tempo, there's good timing, he's a good striker of the ball. And, that was right on line, and might reasonably have expected coming out of the semi just to release forward, but isn't it always the case when you need it, it doesn't happen. Beautifully judged. You can see how these players, they take a full swing, try and just nudge it out of the bunker. They know what they're doing. Full swing, splash it out. Yeah, that's how you get the spin. Don't forget 2 hours coverage of the final round here on Eurosport tomorrow. Slightly delayed, not quite live, but not far away. We start at 5 o'clock Central European time. That's 4 o'clock in the UK. And then next week, all 4 rounds of the Volvo German Open from Stuttgart. Cutting that one up, and don't think he's lost his turn. Good to see more spectators in today. It was a little lonely first 2 days, but conditions kinder today as well, encouraging the locals in to watch. Well, certainly hasn't lost his turn, Coulthard, has he? Trying to cut that chip up, and a strange shot. Maybe the line wasn't that good. I think a certainty to retain his place in the Scottish Alfred Dunhill Cup side. They won last year, of course, Coulthard with Colin Montgomery and Sam Torrance, and they have a chance to name an unchanged side. That's, although Sam's not had a vintage year, he's still pretty well up the Sony World Rankings. Raymond Russell, of course, may have a chance to get in, and likewise Paul Lawrie, who's had that round of 66 today, and that's a shot gone for Coulthard. Paul Lawrie at 5 under, so plenty of little side issues to play for tomorrow, and of course everybody wanted to be in the top 15 of the Volvo rankings for exemptions to majors next year, and the top 50, of course, to make the season-ending trip to Valderrama for the Volvo Masters. Well, he really raced that one past, didn't he? He's still hasn't lost his turn, and this is for a 6. Let's say well done, but he won't feel it is. Very much a shot drop, possibly 2. And Coulthard part last for a 73. That'll be Yuki Hageman in a minute. Peter Baker for 74. Oh, and he just sum up Peter Baker's day. I make that at 75. Let's get the scores on the doors and check. In fact, he's a 76 with a 5 at the last, and he finishes at 1 under. off tape, but Russell Claydon. For his birdie. Not quite, but simple 4. And Claydon still with an outside chance, but realistically, I think the opportunity has gone again. Mitchell second in his 17. Going for the green. Like Hegman before, into the trap. Just waiting for confirmation of whether Joachim Hegman made his birdie at 17. Robertson not going for the green in 2, about to play his 3rd shot. A full wedge, shot of about 110 to 120 yards.
Very distinctive route.
We've seen 1 or 2 from that range forward and come up significantly short. But I suspect Dean's just had one of those days where he hasn't quite been on his game. Gary Orr with Dominic Paul Eels, his caddy, who's moonlighting this week because Paul Eels, taking a couple of weeks off, was out in America last week working for BBC Radio on the US PGA. Enjoyed that and back next week. Gary Orr joined the leader at 9 under with Daniel Chopra. Gary Orr looking for that breakthrough. It's been frustrating at times, and he has a chance. Peter Mitchell, though, up and down out of the sand, can make it a 3-way tie at the top and maybe sneak it at 18. Doesn't matter too much at this stage. What Mitchell will want to do is not drop any shots and be in there fighting tomorrow. Sometimes you often think it's not the best place to be in the very final group. You can be rather left out of it, left behind. So Mitchell, you can see, rather like Joachim Hegman, same sort of shot, just depends how it lies in the sand. So if the lie is reasonable, then 9 times out of 10 you'd expect a professional to get up and down. And we're told that it's, yeah, there it is, lying okay. So the scene is set now, don't let us down. Trying to come out flat, a much shorter swing, wasn't the full swing. An explosion, just trying to sort of flick it out almost. And even with a bit of chocolate, it needs to be spinach, quite honestly. A little bit more power. And New Canonica, by the way, bogey the last hole some time ago. That was Mitchell, and you see just a half swing, really. maybe he was just up off it a fraction too early. It was a good effort, but again, like so many, to hold the line, you have to take the risk of going a good ways past. Doesn't like that one as well. I wonder if it's gone left like the other one. No, it's gone right. So a little bit of overcorrection. And unless I'm very much mistaken, an hour or so on the practice ground at the end of this round for Andrew Coulthard, just to sort out that swing. Mitchell with the putt to make it a three-way tie at the top. You have to say he's due one. And a swing. One he allowed a little bit too much borrow, but safely in for a 5. Having been so close in two. It was an excellent putter, Robertson, the approach, but just glided past, and it's an awkward one back now. The secret is still to retain confidence and belief in your putting stroke and strike it firmly. And because if it gets a bump, you can be in trouble, as we've seen with Jamie Spence and Andrew Coulthard. But that was safely in for Dean Robertson. He walks off with a par 5. Joaquin Hageman 2 under. I think if my maths is right, means he probably didn't make a birdie at the last. Hasn't been the best of years for Sweden. They've not had a winner since March, and just 2 in total. Peter Hepblom in Morocco and Jarmo Sandelin on the island of Madeira. And, unlikely, or you would have thought it unlikely, that maybe Daniel Chopra will be the man to put Sweden back on the Rosham. Could happen tomorrow, though. This is the way 18's played so far. 46 birdies, including Gary Orr's. That was good enough to give the Scot a share of the lead. 5 double bogeys and playing just over its par of 4. So a hole that you can't take for granted. One of the longer par 4s at 431 yards. And again, there'll be a wait for Mitchell and Robertson. Though Coulthard and Hickman have got a little bit of a move on. See just how that one bounces in the... Well, maybe it bounced offline very early, but that's in cricket would be a wide. And again, he's past the hole, and very nearly didn't lose his turn again. Jürgen Hageman's calling Andy Prosser in to have a look. And back on the tee, Peter Mitchell. Dean Robertson already played and safely down the middle of the fairway. On the right hand side, that's okay, just hanging on to the fairway, and it's the best line to come in for. Just looking straight down at the flag and not having to worry about that bunker. There's a time when Hickman used to get down on all fours to take a look at these putts, but I suspect the greens are still a little bit too wet for that. This is for a 74. $75 then for Jürgen Hagemann, and a mixed bag. 7 behind, the chance gone. As just mentioned, tomorrow at my club, Reading Golf Club, Captain Charles Tennant, who's a regular viewer. Charles, and he has his charity day tomorrow. All the best with that. Subscription timed soon. Played twice this year. So about 200 quid a round. Well, it's a good 4 in the end for Andrew Coulthard. Does it easily have been a 5? And a 73, which, well, might have been better. The 6 at 17, expensive. He's 5 behind. Not quite out of range, but I don't know. It's asking an awful lot with so many in front. So in to check the cards with Jenny, and there's a situation with just one match left out on the course. Daniel Chopra and Gary Orr share the lead at 9 under, and Peter Mitchell needs a birdie at the last to make it a 3-way tie at the top. Jonathan Lomas in 4th place at the moment. Martin Gates at 66 miles. Tunnicliffe from Leamington Spa having a good season, also in contention, and all those players on 5 under could still have a say in the outcome of this tournament. You know, Alexander Chaker, Lee Westwood and Paul Broadhurst for sure, all capable of low scores, and 64 of the course continues to dry out. 64, 63 might just happen tomorrow. Those players on 3 under, well, they'll be looking for a top 10 finish and a 5-figure check. Will be useful for the likes of Tim Planchin and Emmanuel Canonica. Raymond Russell, £18,000 behind Podrick Harrington in the race for Rookie of the Year at the moment, and Russell got a chance to close the gap because Harrington missed the cut. We'll be back with the final match on the final hole, round 3, after the break. In the recorder's hut, normally they have to make do with the tent. It's rather grand this week. That's where the players check their cards before they sign. Very important part of a golfer's day's work. Looking through some of the scores, a reminder, if you have just joined us, wherever you've been, at 9 under the mark, 2 players, Gary Orr and Daniel Chopra there. Peter Mitchell needing a 3 here at 18 to join them. I should make a 4 from there, but outside chance of that 3. Was the leader at 10 under through 6, and then double bogey at 7, dropped a shot at 8 and at 9. And there's Alexander Chaker. They'd love him to win here. Fled at the age of 9 across the border into Germany, but feels very much at home. There's his round of 67, 5 under. And if he does it again with relatively inexperienced leaders, he may need a 64 tomorrow, but don't rule him out. Robertson with a set out at about lunchtime with high hopes. Hasn't really turned out that way. Well, perhaps one of the shots of the day came from one of our leaders, Gary Orr, and his second at 18, quite superb. Almost into the hole. He needed a birdie to catch Chopra, and here he was. This about an hour and a half ago. Like an 8-iron. Ooh, that's so close to in the hole, could so easily have led at 10 under. But a splendid back nine, picking up 4 shots over the closing 6 holes for his 66, equaling the low round of the day, and there have been quite a few 66s. 65, the low round of the week from Peter Mitchell yesterday. Mitchell's had one of those frustrating days, but he still has a putt for a 69. In the village, the mobile scoreboard telling the story of everybody's round. To the spectators right down behind the line. Now the main thing is keep it fairly straight and allow for a little bit of a bounce or two, but you run the risk of going past, and that must fall 1 or 2, because that's not dissimilar to Andrew Coulthard's putt in the previous 2 ball. Well, they can compare notes over a beer in the clubhouse.
Move that thing towards me. Yeah.
And of course it's come through onto the line of Dean Robertson. He will move it 1 putt ahead length away to the left hand side. It's down there watching it. You see how he stayed down, because once he knew it was going to miss, he wanted to stay down and just see what happened when it got past the hole. It's going to make it a little bit easier, hopefully, coming back. Also probably have a little look at Dean Robertson's, which we know is on pretty much the same line. See, it's a little bit sunken in places. Dean Robertson, nervy start. And, just after Peter Mitchell had his problems at 7, 8, 9. And so Dean hit a poor run of his own at 11, 12, 13. So this is the last putt of the day. This for a 70 for Peter Mitchell. Not as long as Andrew Coulthard's. Well done. Not a bad day. Could have been so much better. Might have been worse. And overall, I think he settled for that. You can see that hat-trick of birdies at 4, 5 and 6. It really looked at that stage, just before we came on air, that Peter Mitchell was going to run away with this tournament, and then a wayward drive at 8 and 4 shots went in 3 holes. But he lives to fight another day. And thank goodness it's over. That's okay. I'm only 1 behind. So the lead shared by Daniel Chopra and Gary Orr at 9 under. They lead by 1 from Peter Mitchell. Chopra with that 65. That, of course, the low round of the day, equaling the low round of the week from Peter Mitchell. Jonathan Lomas light at the end of the tunnel for the man from Shropshire. Martin Gates shares second place in Portugal. Could it be his day tomorrow? And a football score coming in half-time. Manchester United winning 1-0 at Wimbledon at the start of the season. So all sorts of sports happening. I'm away to see how the Royals get on. Hopefully they'll start beating Sheffield United. And we'll be back tomorrow for the final round of this Chemapol Trophy Czech Open. There you are, 5 o'clock Central European time, 4 o'clock in the UK and Ireland. Next, after the Sports News, Sports Centre, Formula One Grand Prix and magazine programme. I'm Steve Meadow. Enjoy your Saturday. See you tomorrow.
The PGA European Tour was brought to you by Volvo.